Hello, everyone, and welcome to Season 2 of the World with Nate podcast. This podcast was created to shed light on some of the stories and lessons that we accrued during our time here. My hope is that those stories will bring us all together in this thing that we all call life. My hope for this podcast episode is that you find it both enlightening and enjoyable. So, sit back and relax. I want you to enjoy the ride. Special thanks to my friend Buck Kern of Hawkeye Storage and Consulting for helping me bring Season 2 of The World with Nate to YouTube. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Season 2 of The World with Nate. Today, I have an amazing local guest with me, Mr. Jim Wheelan. I say Mr. Wheelan because that's how I'm used to referring to Mr. Wheelan. He's my daughter's 3rd and 4th grade teacher at St. Patrick's. And I wanted to have him on to discuss some things about his life, some things that I know from about our past and his relationship building, how he has an impact on these kids. I've seen it firsthand. My daughter was in his class. And I think that we can take some of those lessons that he's going to provide us. He had 3 boys as well, so I don't know what it's like to have 3 boys and raise them, but as a dad, I know that there's some inspiration and stuff that I want to talk to you about today. Mr. Wheelan, Jim, thank you for coming on the podcast.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Heck yeah, I'm excited to talk to you. So I did not know that you were a Missouri native, being an Iowa native, born and proud of it, and now that you're an honorary Iowan, what were some things different like in childhood in Missouri and growing up in the time period that you did compared to Iowa that I might recognize right away?
Well, it's hotter.
Hotter, way hotter.
Way hotter. Yeah. It's hotter. We had, growing up, I was a huge Cardinals baseball fan.
Okay.
We lived about 60 miles from St. Louis.
Yeah.
So that was a big part of my childhood. Other than that, it was really no different than growing up here. You hang with friends, play with friends.
Sports, I'm sure, played a big deal.
Baseball.
Yeah. When you said that about St. Louis, we were speaking earlier, and I lived in Scott Air Force Base, which is real close to downtown. And the amount of pride and support that the Cardinals have and Busch Stadium in that area, it's really unique. You know, I've been to baseball stadiums, and I think you have as well all over the country.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I really enjoyed my time down there and in that area.
Yeah, the fans at St. Louis are pretty rabid, and
well, you say that now because why? You're not a Cardinals fan.
Well, there's still a part of me that is.
Okay.
We moved to Kansas City, and I became a Royals fan, but
to be fair, to give it some context.
Fortunately, one's in the American League, one's in the National League, so I can root for both of them.
Okay, that's fair.
But I think Cardinal fans are, if you're local, they're the greatest fans in the world.
Which is where I was speaking from.
And if you are not from St. Louis, they're considered kind of obnoxious fans. But
they may have a different way of speaking about Cardinals fans as we do, close to our heart, right? Heck yeah. So being a Missouri native, what brought you to Iowa initially?
My wife and I graduated from Central Missouri State University in 1980, which was there were no jobs.
Okay, in that area or nationwide?
Anywhere. Anywhere. That was jobs, especially for someone without experience, were extremely hard to come by. And my parents, who had moved to Iowa while I was in college, Dad used to say, I found them anyway, but they moved up here, and my dad had some connections with a guy that ran the bank in Anamosa.
Okay.
Small town.
Yeah.
3,000 or 4,000 people, I think. And so he got me a job up here working at a bank. I was a finance major, so my first job out of school was my wife was 8 months pregnant. I was working 6 days a week at a bank, making $700 a month.
Yeah. That's hard to put that in context today when $700 isn't going to get you very far.
It didn't back then.
No, yeah. And we're speaking about a time period, 1980. I was born in 87. And you're saying things that resonate with me. I got out of college, had no experience, had no job. That's exactly what I went through 20-some years later, and that's why I joined the military.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just don't understand how those things repeat, right? I mean, you've seen those things.
Sure. We just hired a fresh out of school teacher to be a part of our grade level team.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to have new blood. I mean,
Yeah.
but she told us that in interviewing it was tough because people are looking for experience. It's that how you get experience if you don't get a job.
I know. I don't understand it either. And we ran into the same problems. My wife's a medical professional. And it's like, you're doing clinicals for free in that realm, and they don't even count that as your experience. It's
Right.
like it's a triple-edged sword, right? It's like you can't win. I don't have the answers for it, but
No.
we've got to figure it out. And like you did, the answers weren't in front of you in Missouri, so you took a chance and came to Iowa.
Yeah, and I'm glad I did. I mean, it's
That's good to hear. That's nice for me to hear because we came back too,
yeah, it's a great place to raise
It is.
a family.
Yeah. Raising a family. 3 boys. I have 1 boy. I don't really think there's all the difference in the genders, but I guarantee that your household atmosphere was different than mine. Mine's loud all the time. There's not much fighting. There's scrapping, I guess, or arguing a lot. But I'm curious as to how it was raising 3 boys.
It was
And we're not bad-mouthing or anything.
Oh,
Everybody
no.
with 3 boys is going to know what you're talking about.
yes,
I just
they
don't.
will. I mean, I felt like Ben Cartwright sometime on
Okay.
on Bonanza.
I know what you're talking about because I've seen it.
But there were 2 years between the oldest 2 and then 4 years between the middle and the youngest. And in any household, when you have 3 kids, whether it's boys, girls, or a mix,
Yep.
it's always 2 against 1.
Yep. Yeah, that's true.
Always.
It seems they team up.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's wild
And
that
the
they do
team
that.
is constantly changing, just
Yeah.
depending on what the argument's over. So it was so much fun raising them. They were into athletics, and they were fortunately very good students, and they didn't cause me any problems. It's just, again, it doesn't matter if there's boys or girls. A parent just has to kind of pick their battles,
Yeah.
especially as they get a little older.
Yeah. And I mean, that's why you're here because we were speaking prior, and my oldest is 11, and the problems are 11-year-old problems. And I know that the bigger ones are going to come, and today's problems and stuff, I'm not prepared to conquer by myself. So who better to put in front of somebody who I really respect what your boys are doing. They're peers, my age, and the things that they're doing in their respective communities and their respective roles in society and with their jobs. I know that it's a testament to that they speak very highly of you and your wife, and I know that it's a testament to a strong home, and I'm trying to create the same, and that's why I needed to have you talk.
Well, from what I've seen so far, you're
I
doing a
appreciate
good
that.
job.
I appreciate that. Just trying to create more humans that are kind, right?
That's right.
Good people.
Yeah, it's the thing I'm proudest of any accomplishment I've had. Not that I've got a whole list of great accomplishments, but my 3 greatest accomplishments are those 3 boys.
Yeah.
They've grown up. They're all friends of mine
Yes.
now, and that's, I think, all a dad can ask.
And you've transcended that time, of course. They couldn't always be friends, right?
No. I mean,
Right.
there was
Yeah.
times where,
Things got tough in the Wheelan house.
oh yeah. But fortunately, we're past that stage
Yeah.
now, and
Yeah. So I'm 35, and how, when those tough things come down the pipe, you just love them through it?
You have to. I mean, I made my mistakes. You're going to make your mistakes. Our kids are going to make their mistakes. And hopefully they're not big mistakes and they learn from them. So I did learn that sometimes the harder you push, the harder they'll push back. So I try not to get in the middle of family things, family decisions. If they ask for my advice, I'm happy to share it. But
Right. That is great advice. I appreciate that. Yeah. Because I can see being my age, and the things that I have going on in my life and with my parents. It's like you love them through everything, right? But there's stuff that's going to be hard that comes up.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, what did your folks, here, let me flip it around. What did your folks think when you came home and said, hey, I'm going to join the Air Force? I bet that thrilled your mom,
what?
Right?
Yeah, my mom, was pretty torn up about it.
Sure.
Yeah. And in my head at that time, I was selfish, young, and I just thought, there's nothing for me here, Mom. I got to leave. And I didn't even think about that. And now, thankfully, time has graced me with a little bit of wisdom, or I've done enough dumb shit to learn something, I guess. But, some of those things, I'm learning those things right now, how it felt as a parent.
Yeah. Yeah. And, I don't know who knows this, but you were raised in the same town that my kids were raised.
Yeah. I was a year younger than your youngest son.
Mm-hmm.
And just through sports and stuff, we knew each other. But then I can't even remember. At what year did you guys leave Manchester?
For his freshman year. He went all 4 years to Hempstead.
Okay. Yeah. So, that time was the time where I grew and blossomed. And I'm sure the same can be same about him. So we didn't really know each other outside of seeing here and there.
Right.
And then, it's just crazy how the world works. And then I go into a parent-teacher conference after hearing, it's Mr. Wheelan. No way. Is he related to? Yeah. And now look. Yeah, crazy to me. So when we're talking about raising the kids and all the great stuff that comes with that, and then the troubles that come with that as well, and navigating through it, the best advice is to love first and try to support them.
Absolutely. I mean, not to sound sappy, but, love can overcome an awful lot of problems. And a parent's love should be unconditional.
Yeah.
So, that's what I would say. I think you put it really well. Just love them right through the problems.
Yeah. Well, I'm learning right here along with you. You've given me a lot already. We talked about the move to Dubuque. What was the cause of that? You moved from Manchester, and what were you doing there?
I went from the banking business.
In Anamosa and the kids and raising them.
And we moved, and I became a stockbroker for about 5 years. And one of my clients was a car dealer.
I'm sorry, you were initially a financial guy.
Yeah.
With school background in that, and now you had a little work experience.
Yep. And
were you nervous jumping into a completely different career like that with a family,
Yeah. Yeah, I was. I wasn't setting the world on fire, but I was making a decent living, as a stockbroker. And one of my clients owned a car dealership in Cedar Rapids, and he said, I think you'd be a real asset here. And so he was going to put me in the business office, the finance office, where the financing's arranged and the paperwork's done. And I would have lasted about 2 days in there. Fortunately, he
Why do you say that?
It was too much paperwork. I'm not that organized.
Yeah.
So he said, first, why don't you start on the sales floor and see what that's like, so you can get a taste of that in. And I thought, so that's what you're doing.
Yep.
You tempted me with this, and
here's your carrot, Jim.
and
I can only say that because I've been approached too. Hey, you got a good personality. You ever think about selling cars? 3 different times at Texas Roadhouse in the past couple of years. So I know what you're talking about. Now you would be a hell of a salesman.
It was a lot of fun and
High energy. That is a good time. But
yeah, and it was a good time to get in the car business.
when you were,
When I was, I started in '86. I think Brooks was born. But yeah, I did that, and after about a year and a half, I guess I got into the sales management.
yeah.
And did that for the next 25 years.
And that's a good job. That can be a good job.
It's a very good living. It's the time demands are hard.
Yeah.
Hard on a family, but
How do you keep that balance? As someone who did it.
well, I think I lost the balance.
Okay.
Nate. My kids joke today about, our vacation was a Saturday, Sunday to the Wisconsin Dells.
Yeah.
That was a big vacation for us because, I had to work Friday and I had to be back on Monday. So, but it was something I enjoyed.
Yeah.
Other than the part about the kids, missing, some of the family stuff. Bless my wife, she was, mother and father a lot of times.
Yeah.
And then I got to I think I worked for maybe 3 or 4 dealerships, and finally, when we got over to Dubuque, my boss said, I don't expect you to miss all your kids' stuff if you don't expect to make them all. And we kind of hit a happy medium, and
I like that.
Yeah. And so my last few years in the business were
Better.
I got
For where your priorities needed to be for who you were trying to be. That's
Right.
important we talk about too.
yeah.
Because there's people who will be walking the same path you did and not share the same sentiment.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Well, the success of your family, you guys are all still together and doing just fine, and that's a testament to where your priorities lie, and that's why I have so much respect for you. I hope you know that. Because it's not easy. I know I'm walking it right now, and the balancing act, it gets hard.
Yeah, it does.
It's so hard.
It does.
I'm trying to be a good dad, a good friend, a good podcaster,
It takes
a good Christian. It's like,
the secret is it takes a very good wife, mother,
it does.
partner.
It does. I don't know how
And I was
people do it
fortunate
alone.
to have one.
Yeah, hell yeah. We can both agree on that because I am in the exact same boat as you there. Because I don't know how people do it alone with the same responsibilities,
Mm-mm.
Yeah, I can't fathom it. I'm not that good.
No.
Hell no. So yeah, a huge shout out to wives out there from me and Mr. Wheelan because we both feel that way.
Amen.
Heck yeah. Advice you would have for your 35-year-old self, being that we spoke through, you had shared boundaries are important. Your time is your time. You're in charge of devoting that time to where you want to, right?
Yeah. Wow, I guess.
If you could do it all over again, would that be the exact same way? You got into teaching late in the game.
I probably, if I knew now what I knew then, I probably would have got into teaching a little earlier. But
You're such an asset to our community, and I'm selfish, and I'm like, oh, I wish we had 100 of you.
well, thanks. But
I'm not trying to make you blush.
But, at that time, teachers don't make a ton of money.
No, you're absolutely right, and that's important we say too.
My family,
Yeah.
we had some education needs that we needed to save for, and I kind of did what needed to be done
Yeah,
at the time.
yeah,
But if I'd had the luxury of, knowing earlier than 35, pay yourself first and
yeah.
and don't blow money on this
Those are very important things that people my age can hear.
stuff that let's get as much stuff paid down as you can so that you can afford to make that job switch
Yeah.
a little earlier than I could afford to do it.
Very, very strong sentiment, because a lot of people go to work and they hate their Monday, they hate their Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and they're waiting for Friday. And when you ask them, why don't you do something different? It pays well.
Yeah.
You're miserable every single day. If that doesn't affect you, you're stronger than I am.
Yeah.
And from someone who has experience, you do. You've done it.
Yeah. I never really got to that point where I hated my job.
Yeah. No. Yeah. That was unfair. I'm
no,
speaking
but there
in
are
general.
people that
Yeah.
there
You
are
ask
people,
a lot of people.
Yes, a lot of people.
How are you doing today?
I hear teachers that say that.
Yeah. And hey, that's not saying it's for everybody, You're lucky that you found something that you enjoy, and maybe it's because of the stage of life you're in. Who knows?
And
But you can look back.
yeah, sure you can.
Yeah.
And I mean, and to take it one step further, I've found a spot to do what I love doing.
Yeah.
The best spot for me to be doing that right now is where I'm at right now.
You would have never found it without those concrete values and things that you've already determined to be important to you.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, I was going to retire. I retired.
Yeah.
I did retire from the public school system.
Yeah.
And it was just fortunate that I kind of fell into this job here at St. Pat's. It's
A good friend of mine one time said, I don't know your religious standpoint, but he said, I'm too Catholic to believe in coincidence. And I don't believe in fate at all. So I am so thankful that our school found you, Mr. Wheelan.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's really, from what I've seen, I've been there a couple years now with my kids, and I love what we have here, and everybody's welcome.
Place.
Everybody's welcome.
It's a great place.
Yeah. We spoke, 1980 was when you guys were graduating, and now we're at 2022. What are some things that about your job and some technology advances or things the way that it's going that you enjoy?
Well, I tell my school kids, when I was in
When you were in
college,
school, okay.
the college's computer, the one computer
Yeah.
that we had wouldn't have fit in this room.
Yeah.
And you had to book time to go in and punch key
Yeah.
whatever those cards are called. My wife did it for me.
That's why it's important to have a good one.
That's right.
Hell yeah.
And even today, I'm still a paper and pencil kind of guy.
That's fair.
The virtual learning was really hard on Mr. Wheelan.
I appreciate your honesty. It's all new.
Yeah.
So new to even me, and I grew up in it. And my kids are coming home asking me to do stuff on a Chromebook. And I'm like, Christy, my wife,
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It's we did the 50 states this year. And for each region, the kids did a little research project and made a Google slideshow.
Yeah.
And they were saying, "Oh, Mr. Wheelan, how do you make the image spin and how do you make it?" I said, "I don't know."
They're producing a high-level film for you, and your requirements are paper and pencil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Draw a picture of the state and put a star where the capital is, and you get an A.
I'm a strong sentiment for those skills being important, too. I still take all my notes on paper and pen, and I catch grief from it here because I'm in a technological space. It is what it is, right? Like, I can still use my iPhone, so. Heck yeah. Speaking about the new days, I am also curious to hear your opinion on the old days. What are some of the things that you feel maybe have been lost in the process of time, or things that you think need to be important today, or a reminder?
Oh, I don't want to sound like the Groucho
I know,
guy,
and I don't want to put you to look like that at all, because that's not the case.
and I'm going to make a generalized statement, not I think today's kids, and I'm including my own grandkids in this statement, I think they lack a little of the work ethic.
Yes.
That your generation had, and then my generation too. It's if you relate it to school, I hear some parents complaining because the kids have maybe a half-hour homework.
Right.
And think back when you were doing homework, your mom and dad were probably saying, I know mine were, they were saying, sit down and get your homework done first.
Yeah.
And then, well, now it's a lot of times I'll get a phone call or an email. Ooh, we've got dance, or we've got volleyball, or we've got baseball, or can we back off in the homework a little bit?
Yeah.
That doesn't mean they're going to grow up to be
worthless humans.
Yeah, right.
Right.
That doesn't mean that at all. They're going to grow up to be just as hardworking as we are, I'm sure. But it's just that they're going to have to learn what that hard work is all about a little later than we did, maybe.
Or maybe harder.
Yeah, it might be harder.
And those lessons might be magnitude later on in life, when maybe we would have had a chance to teach and institute during childhood, right?
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. That's an important sentiment. And I hope that people don't feel like how you precluded the statement, or in front of the statement. I don't even know the word I'm looking for, but we're not saying lazy. It's just different.
No.
And me personally, as someone in that generation, I know a lot of families who, all their extra time is shuttling kids to all these places for all these events and all these sports and extracurricular and all this stuff. And then when, like you said, a half an hour's worth of schoolwork's what I'm asking for, that's a big disconnect in a society that I want to live in.
Yeah.
Where an education isn't as valuable as if they can hit a ball down the first baseline. It doesn't make sense to me. I'm not speaking for you, and I'm not speaking against. I'm just saying, to me, that's not what I want.
You're preaching to the choir here. I mean, all those extracurriculars, they're going to help make a child more rounded, maybe.
They are great.
They're great. I'm all in favor of them. But there's like 1/100th of 1% of all
who make
10-year-old baseball players that are going to make the major leagues, and there's fewer than that of sixth grade gymnastics girls that are going to make the Olympics. But everybody is going to need to make a living, and education should come first.
What are we preparing our kids for? And I think us as parents need to take the responsibility and take a look at it,
I know
and say no.
I know a young lady who's very excited about going to horse camp this summer.
Horse camp is one thing, yes.
And I think that's great because, I taught some kids over in Waterloo. They'd never been to a farm. So,
and that's not something we had access to, and then the opportunity came up, and we're going to try that. Yeah, horse camp.
Yeah,
she's so excited. Fun. Heck yeah. And we're lucky to have that opportunity. But in the same regard, it was like horse camp, volleyball camp, basketball camp, swimming camp, and we're like, you got to decide what's important to you.
Mm-hmm.
I want to do them all, Dad.
Yeah.
We can't. We don't have the money to do them all for you, your brothers, your sisters, and those were hard decisions. I didn't like telling my kid they can't do.
No, that's the tough part about being a parent.
But in the realm of things, is it going to matter if she did all those things in the summer, if she had a great summer?
No.
I don't know if it will. I don't think, right?
And she's going to have a great summer.
Hopefully. So far, so good. We're in, 2 weeks now? We are. The rest, everybody else is a little bit later because we're in a private school system. So 2 weeks we've had. Yep. I think we made it to day 3 before. I'm bored. And I think we made it to about an hour of after breakfast before I'm hungry. So it's there's so many commonalities in parenthood and raising kids, and I believe there's not that much difference in it. You know, we place this prime value on moving forward in technology, and I agree with that. I do agree that stuff's important, but I also agree it's important to sit down with people who are older than you, or people who we wouldn't have got a chance to talk about the things we talked about raising kids. I'm busy with my kids and you're busy being a school teacher.
Mm-hmm.
So I hope that message and those things can be portrayed to the other people, and they take the opportunity, the listeners, to do the same. Because I think the insight that you have is invaluable.
You know, I can tell you that there's 99% of all school teachers would love to have the opportunity to sit down with their parents and just have, it doesn't have to be a big
Conference.
deal. Just hey, let's get to know you. Let me find out what's important to you and to your kid, because if I know what's important to your child, that'll help me with the engagement factor in the room, and yeah, it would be, and I'm not talking about like a 15-minute conference
yeah.
where you have to talk about how many state capitals they knew,
Right.
and how many multiplication facts
What
they know.
their grade is.
I'm talking about just, hey, what do they like? What can you tell me that will help me
Prepare
help
them be a better person.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It was so evident. And yeah, speaking with you through the conferences, and that's the type of person that you are. And I appreciate that, because I believe that's the way forward. We have got to rebuild what it means to have community and to trust and care. And those things are hard because you open yourself up. But if we don't, we're all just operating on these little islands by ourselves, getting nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, if a teacher was armed with what the kid even likes, you can at least talk to the child. You know them from zero starting day one. And
Yep.
if you already are a leg up, that's a win-win, right?
Absolutely.
It doesn't really seem like anybody's losing when we're talking about doing these things.
No, and let me tell you, those kids know if you care.
Yeah, they know. They can sense real quick. They pick up on it. Hell yeah. Well, Mr. Wheelan, before you get out of here, I do a thing called, the firing range. It's this or that questions. You answer whatever speaks to you. And these have been prepared with the help of the Allison kids who are in school. This episode of the firing range is the last episode before I have a new sponsor for firing ranges, who graciously decided to help me so that I can invest that money into future podcast projects. Brittany and Joe Wilson, thank you for everything you've done to support me. I really appreciate it. Without anything else, get yourself your swig or your dew, and we'll get ready for this or that. Mr. Wheelan, your first question is coffee or Diet Mountain Dew?
1 cup of coffee, then do the rest of the day.
A hug or a handshake?
With an adult, I'll
It's
do a handshake.
yes.
With a kid, give me a hug.
Yep, hell yeah. Old or new? Whatever
New.
speaks to you. Teach or learn?
Learn.
KC Chiefs or KC Royals?
Ooh.
I know, the kids were so excited.
Chiefs.
They're going to be impressed. Football or wrestling?
Wrestling.
Fiction or nonfiction?
Nonfiction.
Walk or run?
Run.
Heck yeah. Children or grandkids?
Grandkids.
Sorry, kids. Math, social studies, or language arts is your final question.
Math.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your time, Mr. Wheelan.
Absolutely. Glad
I
to.
really appreciate everything you've done for me and for my family outside of taking the time to come on and help me and the listeners out.
Oh, you know what? when the kids are as
Don't
kind
make
and
me
as
blush.
sweet
Come on.
as your kids, and I only know 2 of them. I only know the older 2.
Right. You haven't had the younger 2 yet.
No, but the oldest that I've had this year is such a sweetie.
I appreciate it.
I lose her, and I don't think
Time shall tell.
I'll get I'm going to teach 2 more years, so I should have the
All
next
right.
one my last year.
Heck yeah, that will be good. Heck yeah. Without anything else, if you have time and you want to check out prior episodes of The World with Nate, you can find all of season 1 on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you enjoy listening to podcasts. Thanks for coming today, and I appreciate your time. Have a good week. Special thanks to my friend Katie Hine at Mattress by Appointment, Cedar Falls, for her sponsorship of season 2 of The World with Nate.